imagine if you like tapped it and moved the magnet over the coil, would it produce sound or would it produce electricity backward? So I got a little strand of LED lights, and it does, like, and this just, it really blew my mind because, and then I set up a bunch of these speakers and light strands in my presentation and turn off all the lights and you know, played a song and people were just so a lot of things act like they shouldn't, but or you know have their ways of functioning. But this is actually a demonstration essentially of like one of those shake flashlights. And I realized that after the fact, oh, you're shaking the magnet through the coil and it produces that little bit of charge every time it goes through. You get the battery and you run the flashlight. But there are lots of varieties on how I was going to introduce a potentiometer and you know watch how much harder you have to tap to get light because of resistance and stuff. In other electricity, like in the home, you have load, which is power going in, that's me tapping, and then you have the neutral wire going out. It's basically carrying the leftovers back to the breaker box, which goes back to the transformer. Because when it didn't necessarily need as much force as I was using. So whatever was left over, it goes back into the transformer to be equalized up to you know the power that the house needs, and it sends it back to the breaker box. But that's alternating current, so it's always going back home and giving you more energy, and that's something. The main like metaphor I want you to take away is what I'm doing, like you, is what I'm doing. Am I constantly having to push here and push here and push here, and they do something that they don't know how to, or like bring the power back around. Like you need your people to close the loop and say, okay, here's what we did. How do we go forward? And then that's when you make the plan together to keep that momentum going instead of you had this great event that the 16 students came, but do you plan beyond that, like how your team is going to help carry things forward, and so you're not having to think up stuff by yourself and think up your plans and tap them and tell them, you know what I mean?